Hello everybody, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons The Second Age. How are we doing?
So great.
Excellent.
so excited.
Alright, so... It's been a week. Anyone care to remind me of what it was that you did the last time we were here?
I died very hard.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was the thing that happened.
Yeah.
Oh.
We were congratulated as heroes in Renshire.
Yes,
We wrote our names in like a big book, and
in
now
the annals of
every
history.
time kid has a history lesson, they'll have to know our names and races and when we were born. Not.
God.
And they'll
I
be
don't-
like, "No, I didn't study for this." Anyway,
I don't think we wrote all of that down. We literally just signed our names.
it's fine. And then we left Renshire on horses because we decided to buy horses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we have 2 horses, and then Kelariis just like fucking summons a horse.
Look, it's fine.
And we got in to Roxgate. We saw some fireworks before we came there, but it was pretty quiet because everyone was at church, like doing some sort of like what's it called? Like the thing with pale, where like a priest or like a cleric of Palor becomes an official cleric priest of
Ascension
Palor.
or something, right?
It was the Ascension ceremony, yes.
That thing. So everyone was basically off except for like a few people, and we fucked around a little bit, waiting for it to end, until Kelariis met this beggar, who we gave some money, and then he gave half of it to the Church of Palor, which was a little bit reminiscent of the story that we read, or like Kelariis read, which is the reason why we're here in the first place. So
Yes.
she talked to him. He turned out to be like, "Oh, secret! I'm a secret follower of Tallithsyr. Come to my evil dungeon where you'll
Wow.
come to my dungeon where you go through all of these tests."
Come to my chaotic good dungeon.
Yeah, exactly. And then prove that you are a worshipper of Tallithsyr, and then she passed with flying colors, even though like all of the fucking tests were dodgy as shit. And Arya was really the only person who saw that because we were all just like somewhere else.
Yeah, you were still in the cathedral, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
delivering the letter, right?
You delivered the letter to then discover that your comrades had gone and decided that because you'd agreed to meet back at the tavern that's where you would wait.
And I died. My internet died very hard, so I could barely follow, but you know what? I did it. I survived.
Congratulations.
Right.
Yes.
Let's hope that doesn't happen again.
And
Okay.
yeah, basically that is where we resume. In the North Road Tavern, with basically Kelariis and Arya returning from their adventure and meeting the rest of you who are waiting in the tavern. So, to set the scene, the 3 of you are sat around a table, bought a round of drinks, and decided to wait it out. There's not a huge amount of people in the tavern at the time. Most of them are off somewhere outside of the walls, you assume, participating in this football game that is going on. Or spectating the football game, one of the two. But yes, there are a few patrons in the
Oh,
bar.
right, I forgot there was a football game happening.
There is a football game happening, yes. The bartender Yawn is sort of just standing in a corner, looking through his ledgers, occasionally tending to refill someone's drink. When the door to the tavern is pushed open, the bell on the top of the door rings. People look up, and it is Arya and Kelariis.
Do you want to lead or do you want me to? Because
I mean,
There's a lot of shit that went down.
I assume you walk over to the table to start with.
Yeah.
yeah.
What's up, guys?
Well,
I wonder how Kelariis looks at this point.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
actually kind of wondering that too.
Mm.
yeah, that's a good point.
Because you were kind of beat up.
Yeah.
Only a little bit. Just
Yeah, you've got some bruises on your face that are beginning to show.
fine. Don't worry about it.
She's fine.
It's fine.
That's the exact kind of thing you say to make me worry about it.
No, it's fine. So, well, where to begin with this, I guess.
Yeah.
First off, well, before I get into any of the details of it all, Veldt, the person that we met outside of the church wants to meet with all of us at some point later. He said he'd come and find us when it's time, which is a little ominous sounding, but...
As a correction, he didn't say he would come and find you.
Excuse me, somebody would come, I think. Cassian?
Yes,
Was it?
Cassian.
Did he say specifically? Yeah. Which, you know, fair enough.
That does sound very ominous.
It's not really as ominous as I think he intended it to be. They seem to be running in a very secretive manner. You know, considering it's kind of also underground. Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I kind of just generally explained that I had to do like 3 trials, and that Arya was there just kind of hanging out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you give your companions a rough recounting of what happened.
Apparently I passed, so
Well, I guess we found the temple, or was it the temple?
yeah, it was. I believe it is the one. So
This is maybe easier than we thought then.
well,
Yeah.
possibly not. He said he'd give information, but I haven't received any of it yet. And the fact that he wants to speak with all of you as well, there may be something more to it than we originally thought.
Aren't we just here for Tritharion's thing? Why can't they give it to you?
That is a good question.
Well, I assume we have little proof. Well, of course you've done the trial, but
Can't Tritharion be like, ooh, trust this person, you know, she's gonna do some good things?
The gods don't tend to work in that way. They've got a lot of things to deal with.
I personally would vote for Tritharion to do exactly that in that voice. Who?
well, I guess what do we do in the meantime? That's the real question. Because right now we're just waiting for us to get picked up, right? Or for...
Essentially.
I guess.
I mean, what else is there to do in this town? I'm sure that there's a
Yeah.
lot when people aren't out at a football game.
I guess we could ask the tavern owner if something's up, like anything.
Worth their time.
Well, just more rumors instead of like something we can actually work with. See if we can do something around here.
Fair.
Or we can have like a day off and just relax, but
Well, the majority of your day is kind of already gone. It's beginning to sort of approach early evening, and the light outside is beginning to sort of start to dim. So you expect that the folks who are out at the football match won't be out for terribly much longer.
Well, I was also planning for tomorrow, basically.
Yeah, we don't know
the issue
how
is
long we're
that
going
we
to be
don't
waiting.
know whenever that guy's going to talk to us.
That's true. I guess we should try and remain available.
I mean, I have a feeling that as long as we're... Well, he told me that as long as we're within the city, that Cassian would be able to find us, so... That sounds
good.
really, really ominous.
He'll
And
find
the more I think about this, the more ominous that sounds.
Given the trials that you just had to undergo, yeah.
I mean, the last one wasn't that bad. Not that Arya knows that, but the last one wasn't that bad.
Arya saw the bad trials.
Vondal, I don't know if you've seen what I've sent you,
I
but
have.
that's the sort of prevalent thought that you're having right now.
Yeah. That's why he's kind of just sat in the corner, not really participating and spending a lot of time thinking to himself.
Okay.
Oh.
It is at this point I would like those of you who are engaged in this conversation to make me perception checks.
Isn't that literally everyone?
That's for you to decide. Okay. You guys continue to have your conversation?
Is there anything else people want to do tomorrow, or?
We should probably find a shop to sell some stuff.
Yeah, I still have some
Yeah.
stuff that I don't really need.
There should be more stuff open now.
Well, maybe not necessarily now.
Well, eventually.
Well, yeah,
We'll have to do that tomorrow.
yeah. I might actually try find the blacksmith. See if you can, instead of me trying to figure out Quicksilver every time, just silver a weapon. Since I have a spare one anyway.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean... I'm sure there's a blacksmith somewhere in this town.
Anybody else got any wishes? Or are we just gonna call it a night?
I'm not sure what else we can do at this point. Might just as well.
Can
Take
I nudge Kelariis?
Yep,
Point
sure.
to the back room.
By the time you point to the back room, the door has sort of swung closed again, but...
Ah. It looks like that was that young one, Cassian, back there, that we saw down in the temple.
Those of you who were paying attention during the conversation in the bar earlier when you booked your rooms, you do remember Yorn saying that if you needed anything, Cassian would see to what it was that you needed.
I don't know what to do with that information, but he's here.
Shrugs.
Well,
Oh well.
I guess we could talk to. Oh, is it? Wait, is it Cass?
Cassian, yeah.
Cassian. Okay.
You know, like from Star Wars.
Except it's the
Right.
female name, not the male.
Ah.
Look, I wasn't quite sure if it was male or female, but
Well, the name is unisex, but...
okay. Well, I guess we might as well ask Cassian what's going on.
I
don't
would
know.
not mention anything about
Yeah.
temple or any of that
Look,
stuff, but
I was thinking more, because sure we got to hear about like the whole Ascension festival going on, but I was more thinking every like day-to-day stuff.
that's fair. I
Get-
just
get, like-
wanted to be clear with that.
blacksmith location and whatever else we need.
It looks like they weren't working though, so I don't know if she can talk. No, we can try, I guess.
Well, worst case, we get sent away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just walk over.
What, you walking to the door behind the bar?
While walking to the bar because there was a bell or something. Seem to remember.
Oh, there's a bell on the door into the room. There isn't anything particular on there.
Oh, okay. So I'll ring the bell.
Okay. Yeah, you sort of like ding the bell as you go past. And yeah, Yorn sort of appears from the back room almost as quickly as he disappeared into the back room, and sort of says, "What can I do for you, friend?"
Well, we had like a few simple questions really. First off, would there be a blacksmith in town?
He sort of nods and says, "Yeah, there's basically one. If you head up towards Temple Square and off down the alleyway to the left, like basically the first one that you come to. Walk down there for maybe 5 minutes. You'll start to hit the industrial district. There's definitely a blacksmith there."
Thank you. And then we were wondering, well, what if anything is going on in town besides like the Ascension Festival?
That's it depends what thing you're looking for. Is he looking sort of just things to do whilst you're here? Things to go to?
Well, just that kind of stuff. Don't know if there's anything notable happening.
Well, he says, well, I don't know what sort of connections you have, but Lady Ethel is holding an art exhibition up at the east end of town. Don't know if that's your sort of thing. There's bound to be a lot of the upper classes moving around there. If that's sort of your thing.
Well, I'll keep it in mind. But thank you. I guess that's it. And I kind of look back to the rest of the party. Did anybody come along, or?
I assume they're still just sat at the table whilst you're...
Yeah. I assume it's not too far away.
Yeah, no, it's maybe a couple of paces between the table and the bar, much as is displayed in the picture.
I'll just be like, did you guys need to know anything?
I don't think so.
No.
Well, I guess that was it. Thank you.
And just as you are walking away from the table, the door opens, and a considerable stream of people begins to trickle in. Some of whom seem to be in fact, most of whom seem to be in very good spirits.
That'll be the football game, presumably.
You assume so. Yes.
Must be the winners.
Yeah. Very quickly, the tavern begins to fill up with people who are sort of excitedly chattering. You hear talk about some of the events that happened, some of the scores, some of the big plays, some of the events. Every now and again, there's sort of like a chant goes up where somebody will sort of shout "Gators!" and then they'll be like somebody will clap, and then they'll do the same thing again. Yeah, your average sort of football hooligan crowd.
Alright.
I say we call it an early night and go to bed.
Good.
Yeah.
Let's retire. We've got 3 rooms.
Oh, yeah, we do.
1 for 1 and 2 for 2.
So presumably we want to put the person who has the shard in the single room.
And there's no way in hell Arya is letting that be Grim.
Yep.
Well, look, one day Arya will drop it.
she
No.
won't.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
I would
100 years later, maybe.
Sorry, what's my dex again?
She's not very good at dropping things.
Look,
Yeah.
I'll negotiate something.
Holds grudge.
Look, if the person with the shard is going to be in a single room, it's not going to be V or Grim, probably. So.
Yeah.
I can just take it in the single room.
If I remember correctly, it wasn't a single. It was a double and a triple, wasn't it?
No, I'm pretty sure you said 3 rooms.
Just-
Did you-
Oh no! Yes, hold on. Let me check. That was actually one of the things I didn't write down. So yes, we'll say 2 rooms of 2 and 1 room of 1.
So yeah, I can just take the shard into the room with 1,
Okay.
and then obviously you four can split however you want. Doesn't really matter.
So who's taking shard?
Vondal.
Vondal is.
Look, I'll take it, but
No, you won't.
I'm going into the room of 1 with the shard.
Okay.
Okay.
It was wisdom.
Yeah.
wisdom
So
save.
wisdom save.
Oh, who's Edward?
Who is Edward? That's a good
I
question.
don't know.
Oh no.
Oh,
So-
once it wasn't Luka.
As you guys retire to whichever room it is that you retire to, you all get some rest. Eventually, when the football crowd quiets down.
Shut up.
Takes a while.
Yeah, it probably goes on until sort of like fairly late into the evening, before that sort of like it eventually reaches closing time, and you hear them singing on the way out, and yeah, eventually it's quiet at the end. But yes,
Just
other
realised
than
something.
that, what have you realised?
if there's somebody in the room next to Vondal, they're gonna have a bad night.
Well, presumably, as long as they're not within. Presumably, I don't think the effect goes through walls.
Depends how thick the walls are and what they're made of.
Potentially- Yeah, and also potentially they might not be within 30 feet depending on how big the rooms are.
They're not that big.
30
so
feet is
maybe
a lot.
maybe they are going to have bad nights. Who knows?
You don't know the answer to that.
And if that's the case, well, if one of our beds was pressed up against a wall in any of the other taverns, the same thing could have happened.
Yeah.
I like that this is the first time that you've thought about it.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. We're just completely ignoring the collateral damage we are potentially causing. But hey, at least it's a one-off.
This definitely will not come back to bite you in the ass at any point.
No.
God dang it.
Why not put it?
We're just giving like a random ass people like visions and nightmares. It's
Yeah.
fine.
They just see freaking. What's his name?
Neller.
Yep.
What?
Do you mean Thariz'dun, or do you mean
Yes.
Thariz'dun?
There's-
Yeah.
They just see Thariz'dun and they're like, oh shit.
That's not good.
I mean, I
You
think
definitely
he's the
aren't
one that
creating
would
a
be
straggling of cultists in your wake as you travel.
Ah.
Fuck.
Damn it.
God.
Ah well.
Ah well.
Who cares? What?
At
At
least
least
that would
fine.
mean, at least Thariz'dun wouldn't try stop us if that happened. He's
I
like,
mean, yeah.
Minnie, I swear to God.
He's got a
Whose
point.
side
Okay.
are you on?
The side of bluntness.
So,
The side of my face. Or my
Vondal,
fist in
you
your face.
have a dream.
Oh, what?
I'm about to tell you what that is.
I guess. Tippity tip tap right on the keyboard.
Yep. There you go. Yes, and you wake up all of you wake up in the morning feeling refreshed. You may stock up any items that recharge on long rests, as well as restoring your health charges of your hit dice, etc.
I don't think we have any. I don't think we took any damage since the last time we rested.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
Some of you did.
Yeah. Well, and then the staff charges a certain amount of points a day.
Yes,
Yeah,
these
but it's all charged up.
yes.
It's ready to go.
Ready to
we
summon
ever
some
need that
insects.
insect swarm.
Ready to summon bees.
Bees?
So
It's like
good.
that
If we ever play Cards Against Humanity, that'd be the ultimate inside joke, really, wouldn't it?
Just bees.
Bees?
Yeah, bees.
The best card.
Yep.
Anyway, Kelariis, who are you in a room with?
That's a good question.
I vote me. So I don't
Sure.
have to be in a room with.
Yeah, it's either gonna be me. It's kind of gonna be Arya or Grim, because Arya and
Yeah.
Grim are not gonna share a room
Yeah,
Not at all.
it's not happening.
Yeah.
ever again.
Never
Okay.
again.
Look, it's a one-sided thing, so you know.
It's probably Grim,
Well.
let's be honest.
Decision.
I said me first. So.
Okay.
Me.
Ah, yeah. Okay, so
This is when it turned out to be a bad thing.
basically, as you guys are getting up and getting ready in the morning, the door to your room is pushed open,
Excuse me.
and in steps a figure that you recognize as Cassian.
Hello.
Good morning.
Cassian sort of looks levelly from Arya to Kelariis, faces you, Kelariis, and says, Veldt is ready to meet with you as soon as you're prepared.
Should we rush, or may we eat breakfast very quickly first?
She sort of looks at you, raises one eyebrow, and says, "If you require a nutritional intake, I suggest you take it. Otherwise, the best of speed."
Oh my god. That is the weirdest way to phrase that.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, I guess we chat down really quickly and grab the
Yeah.
others.
Yeah, I'll get the others and
Okay.
Yeah, get us before you just eat your breakfast at light speed, so that we also know we have to eat ours
The-
at light speed.
Like the moment you sort of say okay and like indicate that you've understood Cassian just turns around and walks out of the room.
Okay, bye.
alright then.
How much of a conversation?
Yeah. Well, guess we go get the others.
Yep. Let's do that. Start knocking on some doors.
Wake the fuck up!
And I'm the awkward one that's downstairs.
Oh,
You gather all of
He's
your
probably still asleep.
you gather your companions from upstairs, find that Vondal is absent, wander downstairs, and Vondal is already downstairs.
Ooh, so mysterious. You walk down the stairs.
Ooh, Vondal got up slightly earlier than the rest of you. What a rebel!
Better wake up early. Come on,
Man.
snap. I expected better of you, Grim.
Man, you gotta push the boundaries of that lawful good when you can.
Yeah,
well.
expected
Just
better
to
from
really
you.
annoy everyone with your
Lawful
early
stupidity.
rising.
You head downstairs, have a quick breakfast, and basically, as you're ready to head out, you realize you haven't been told where to go.
I mean, I assume back to the temple, right?
I thought I asked him last time, and he said back to the park that we go down from. I could be remembering that wrong though.
I think you're right. That's like vaguely what I remember too.
I don't think he was specific about where you had to go.
Ah, shit.
Once again, we've forgotten to ask for important details.
I mean, I say we just go back to the park. And see what happens.
Actually, let's try heading back to the front of the church first, because that's where we first met him.
Okay.
He might be there again, and if not, we can circle around to where the park is. Unless Cassian looks like she's around right now.
She isn't in the bar.
Yeah. She's not very friendly.
Yeah.
No.
So, you walk out of the front door of the bar, and are immediately confronted by Cassian.
Oh.
Lovely.
That works too, I guess.
He sort of looks at you and says, "Are you prepared?
Yes.
Then we will go." And she walks off.
I guess we're following. Okay.
Yeah, you follow Cassian, who seems to lead you down a number of side streets. Until basically you come across what is essentially like a public square in front of a bunch of buildings. I'll take you back to the city map for now, but yeah, essentially you end up in a public square in the middle of a bunch of houses that is actually fairly secluded because of the fact that there's several houses built up around it. Everyone who lives here seems to either be out at work or still asleep. There's nobody present in the streets as you arrive here, and basically as Cassian walks out into basically the center of this square, stops basically and braces her hands. What's it called? Steeples her fingers, basically, like in the middle of, like in her hands, holds her thumbs together and blows into them and makes a peculiar sounding whistle. Basically, at which point, from one of the front doors of one of the buildings, Veldt emerges and approaches you. And from behind him, the blind old man follows him, carrying a white stick. This is the first time some of you have met these people, so... Well, you've all seen Veldt, who was previously dressed as a beggar, who now basically just seems to be wearing a grey travelling cloak. But his demeanour certainly seems to have changed. He's now... When he was dressed as a beggar, he was sort of like hunched over and sort of like moved very slowly. Now he sort of strides with a great deal of purpose. Yes, and the blind man, who none of you have met yet. And yeah, they basically walk up to Cassian and then turn to face the rest of the party. And Veldt says, "Good, I'm glad you could make it."
Just stand there and nod.
Okay.
I think. You know what? Fuck it. Vondal's gonna say, and what exactly have we made it to?
Veldt looks to Kelariis and says, "You told them about our meeting."
Yes, I did. But you didn't really tell me much more than you wanted to meet and speak with all of us, so...
He nods and says, "That much is true. I have to say that when I met you for the first time, I didn't think such an interesting group of travellers could possibly have anything to do with our temple, our faith, particularly one of such mixed sort. The Gospel of Tritherion doesn't tend to make it terribly far outside of the realm of the humans. But when you showed me your insignia, I was surprised. It is not often that I meet another patron of Tritherion, let alone one who travels with, well, a party such as yours, some of whose aim is, well, being perfectly honest, against many of Tritherion's principles.
Are you racist?
Vondal is staring at him very, very, like, almost like a death glare. Just
Yeah.
like, yeah, too sad to say.
Oh boy.
Veldt is fixing you with a look, but it is a look of sort of calculating assessment, somewhere between trying to work out what your aims are and partly whether or not he can take you in a fight.
Lovely.
Jeez.
Yeah, but he after he exchanges this gaze with you, I can actually change this music.
There's much suspicion going on here.
Let's go with that. He sort of turns away from Vondal, pulls the sort of the traveling cloak up a little closer around his shoulders, as if he was cold, but you don't really think that he would be cold. It's quite a pleasant day. But he says, ordinarily, I wouldn't even consider working with a group such as yours, one so far outside of Tritherion's following. But I do not know how to phrase this. Suffice it to say, I was given a vision from Tritherion some days ago. Where Tritherion told me that one would come seeking my help, one who exhibited conviction brighter than a burning flame. Those were his exact words. And when I met you in front of the temple, I had my suspicions, but I think it may be you that Tritherion told me about. He indicates you, Kelariis. And he says, the fact that you have passed our trials and the fact that you have come here seeking one thing in particular, I believe that it is in my power to help you.
Can I nudge Arya and be like, see, I told you Tritherion would help us?
I have seen the trials, so I'm like.
He sort of says, so tell me, what is it exactly that you and your companions seek?
Well, as a whole, we're looking to stop. We're looking to stop a very dark force that's been at work. We have reason to believe that. Well, have you heard of any of the issues with the blight anywhere in the nearby areas? Or a blight, I guess I should say.
He looks at you sort of with a. Actually, give me an insight check as he looks at you.
Okay.
And actually, anyone in the group can make this.
Oh shit.
Nice, Arya.
Okay.
Oh. Should have advantage.
Okay.
I know your secrets, old man.
Yeah. Vondal, like, there's sort of like there's a flash of recognition in his like in his eyes as he says this. Arya, you so far as even catch sort of like there's almost like a lopsided grimace that he makes for like half a second when Kelariis mentions this. And he basically says, yes, I am familiar with the affliction. Though perhaps it seems you know more of it than I do.
We've had more than one dealing with the blight and what we believe to be what I guess roots it here on the material plane. put it simply, how do you know?
Sadly.
Sadly. And to put it simply, there's connections to what is I'm sorry, first, what is one of the names that Thariz'dun would be called by that's just not Thariz'dun?
The Lord of Madness, he who lurks in the shadows.
There is dumb.
Wow.
Please, can we call it
Already.
Thariz'dun?
That is dumb.
Yeah, like he has sort of like many sort of like ominous sounding names.
He just call him He Who Must Not Be Named, because he's apparently Voldemort.
Yeah.
So
You know what?
Does that
There's
mean he
no.
doesn't have a nose?
Wow. You know,
Confirmed.
I wasn't afraid to call it. That's fine. I was trying to figure out if she would use one of those, but they sound a bit too ridiculous to her, so she's like, eh. We have reasons to believe that it's connected to Thariz'dun and
Yeah.
another individual who's might be working with him or has some sort of similar dark intentions.
Yeah. Just to put sort of the whole not naming him thing into context. The whole not naming him thing is a very human trait. The elves don't name him for reasons that previously everyone just assumed was associated with suspicion. Now you guys think that you might have a clue as to why the elves don't like naming him quite so much. But for those of you who are neither human nor elf, the whole not using the name convention is sort of... It's sort of like, oh, it's one of those weird human quirks. Yeah, just to put some context on that.
Those barely living a century weirdos.
Hey now.
Not you. You're fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you are
Basically,
the
as you sort of discuss this, Veldt basically from inside his traveling cloak produces like basically what is a sackcloth pouch, and he holds it as you sort of say this, and he said, "Yes, I too have come to similar conclusions." At which point he opens this sackcloth bag that he is holding and pulls out basically a piece of carved white wood, which he holds out to you, Kelariis. And basically what it is it's a carved wooden skull mask. But from the size of it, it looks like it belonged to like a not a full-sized human, probably more like a child-sized or maybe halfling-sized, or like it's a mask for a very small head. And he sort of hands it to you to take a look at.
I guess I'll do that. But I'll probably look at him and be like, where did you get this from?
Yeah. He turns basically to the old man who is sort of standing at his shoulder, whispers something in the old man's ear, and the old man whispers something back to him. V, who can lip read, he basically whispers, "Should I tell them everything?" And the old man says, "I think that would be wise." So yeah, V, you sort of lip read that from the two of them having this conversation. And then he turns back to you and basically says, that belonged to a visitor who came to this town quite some time ago, maybe 3-4 weeks ago. He, much like yourselves, was very curious about our temple and the existence of our artifacts. He asked a few too many questions and skulked around, and when we accosted him, he very quickly turned violent. In fact, he left me with this, and he pulls down sort of his collar, and now that he's not wearing sort of like his beggar's robe or his cloak, you can see that basically from his collarbone basically down to like just above his heart, there is a deep red wound. That it seems mostly to have healed, and from your experience of healing wounds yourself, you suspect it may have been magically healed. But it's a stab wound that, had it been a couple of inches lower, probably would have killed him.
Mhm.
He sort of glances at like over your party and says, "I think you perhaps now understand a part of why it is that we are cautious about what we reveal."
Understandably so. Do you mind if I ask what happened to this person?
He again, Arya, you sort of catch this the half grimace, and it says, he is currently residing in an unmarked grave outside of the city. We were forced to remove him.
Well,
As must be done sometimes.
Well, you did give him a grave. But that was generous.
it's unmarked.
The classic grim sentence. Congratulations, you've basically summed up your entire character to these people.
Well, he's dead, but you know, he's got a grave.
Hey, what you gonna do about it?
To be fair, that's kind of the attitude. It's like, oh, it's not like we're going to change it. That was necessarily a bad decision.
Yeah, it would be impolite to just leave the body lying around, or dump it in a swamp,
Yeah, that's rude.
or in a barrel.
Look, it's not like we've done both of
Anyway.
those things.
Moving on.
Nobody knows about that.
No murder hobo. Please.
But yeah, he says, it seems that, despite my reluctance, our aims are aligned. You said you were searching for the artifact, Tallithsyrian's weapons.
Yeah, that's correct.
May I ask, what purpose are you searching for them? What is your aim?
I was asked to find them again
Asked by whom?
by Tallithsyrian himself. And I know that maybe that sounds far-fetched to you, but it's true. And if he asks for them back, then I'll give them to him, but for the moment I would use them to do the things that need to be done to keep those in danger safe. And if it'll help to fight what we're going up against, then even more so.
sort of considers this for a second and nods and says, I am afraid I know only of one. That is the Baton of Retribution. It is an artifact that we here, the Guardians of Namud, we once possessed this artifact. I suppose to a certain extent we still do.
What do you mean to a certain extent?
He looks at you and says, your friend here has already come closer than they might think to the original resting place of the artifact. In fact, the orb that you handled during the trial, that was once a piece of the baton.
Oh, it's... I don't say that out loud. I'm sorry. That was just me.
Shit. Kelariis just curses softly under.
God damn it.
As for the rest of the baton, there is some story behind its separation. I think perhaps if you are to search for it, you should know what we know. Suffice it to say that this town, Rorksgate, was once a thriving community that served the principles of Tritherion. The men and women of my order, we promoted Tritherion's values. We encouraged them to stand up and resist those who would give them enforce law and order on them. We resisted the kings and the barons that came to claim this land as their own, often with little more than just a peasant militia. But after a while, people became disillusioned with the way that we did things, and members of the Pelorian Order, an order known as the Radiant Dawn, came to this town and sought our permission to set up a temple to Pelor. We were, well, I say we, my order, were resistant to the idea. One that the Guardians of Namud still resist, to this day, in fact. But there were those amongst our order who grew tired of doing things the way that we had been doing them for centuries. They wanted a new icon for the people to follow, and they believed that perhaps Pelor was this opportunity. These two factions argued and disputed, but when those who decided to work with the Pelorians broke away, they disassembled the baton. They took the rod away in what was supposed to be a symbolic gesture of the sharing of power between the two factions, so that no faction could use the baton's power against the other. Unfortunately, that basically split the rod's power into two halves, and since then the Guardians of Namud have lost the knowledge of where the rod is stored. The only indication that we have of its resting place is that it is kept under the watch of Pelor himself, somewhere within the cathedral. I personally have not spent a lot of time inside the cathedral, but under my tutelage, Cassian has been able to enter the cathedral on many occasions, and she knows a little more about it than myself. She has her own theories, though we have yet to find any proof. If you would search for the rod, I would gladly give you the orb, but the process of finding the orb must be done by yourself. I will lend you what aid I can, but the Order does not directly interfere with the cathedral.
So it's definitely still here within Rourke's Gate, though. It's in the actual.
If it was ever removed, there is no record of it. As far as we know, it should be there.
Well,
I mean, I don't suppose they would just give it to us.
Veldt sort of looks off to the side where the old man is standing, and they're sort of he almost seems as if he's about to say something before he sort of turns back and says, "No, I do not believe so. The Radiant Dawn have a very particular ideal of how independence should be enforced. They are very much at odds with our beliefs. I do not think they would gladly give you this artifact, and were you to reveal your mission to them, I'm sure that they would sympathize, but more than likely it would be that you would be arrested."
Oh. Well, I mean, that's part of the reason I don't wear my symbol out openly, so that's nothing new to me.
Now, we have, in my many years as priest of the temple, I have seen initiates who would wear their heart on their sleeve, so to speak, and paid for it with prejudice. It
People
is.
of Palor aren't bad
Hmm.
people, right? But there must be a way to strike an agreement somehow.
He turns his gaze to you, V, as you say that, and sort of says, "That is certainly what one would expect of good people, but the ways of men are often not that simple. As far as they are concerned, we are little more than anarchists, troublemakers."
well, I guess we're gonna have to find a way around it.
You said Cassian has been into the cathedral more often than you have. And I guess I'll look to her. Do you have any more information that might be helpful?
Yeah, she turns to you and says, "I have basically eliminated most of the rooms in the cathedral as potentials for where the relic is stored. It is my belief that the relic is stored in the vestry alongside other sacred relics to the Pelorian Order."
And I guess relative to the entrance, where is that in the cathedral?
You went into the cathedral at the start, didn't you?
Yes.
Basically, when the chaplain emerged from the the room and was sort of finishing the process of his changing clothes. That would have been basically the vestry, but Cassian basically explains it as it is basically the room basically 20 feet to the left of the altar.
Alright. Well, it sounds like we'll be going into the cathedral again at some point.
Well, at least we had an alright first encounter.
Cassian intercedes as you're having this conversation, and she says, entering the cathedral without a plan would be inadvisable. The vestry is often guarded.
Well, we're probably gonna have to enter to figure out what to come up with a plan. Because the cathedral's just open during the day, I assume?
That is correct. I have infiltrated it many times under the guise of a worshipper. You may be able to do the same.
That was what I was
Just
thinking.
want to ask that.
Any specific rituals you need to follow as a follower, or just to walk in and pray, basically?
Most of the common folk simply enter and pray. Certain religious officials perform ceremonies.
Oh, I think being in common would be enough for now.
I have only ever been able to catch a glimpse inside of the vestry, but I have memory of the details, if that would be of use to you.
Well, anything would help, I guess.
The moment you sort of say this, Cassian sort of straightens, stands very straight in posture, closes her eyes, and recites the following. The vestry consists of 2 rooms. The robing room is 30 foot square and contains various cupboards for the clerics to store their robes. Beyond that is a larger room, approximately 40 feet by 60 feet. On the long wall opposite the doorway is a mural, approximately 12 feet in length, depicting a scene of farmers toiling in the fields on a hot day. In the centre is a figure in white robes addressing a crowd of women and children who are consuming a meal. The rest of the details I am uncertain.
Okay.
I love this character.
Alright.
Well done, Ferrous. Fucking
Amazing.
love this character.
Well, that was more than I ever expected.
I have an eidetic memory.
So I can see.
So, do they ever present the artifact anywhere? Do they use it for any rituals, or...
There are certain Pylorian artifacts used in rituals. The rod I have never seen.
I assume that throws that plan out of the window.
Well, given that it's not strictly an artifact to Paylor, that they wouldn't use it in anything dedicated to him.
There's no windows into either of those 2 rooms, are there?
There are no windows in the vestry.
Damn it!
Nice try.
Step in, step out.
Look, it was worth asking. Well then, do you know what the cathedral is like at night?
Before it is locked up from the night, approximately at 10 p.m., the cathedral is hung with oil lamps, and they conduct evening prayer.
All night?
Until 10 p.m.
Okay.
And that's when the doors are closed to the public.
Yes.
Important question. Do you know if any magic is used in securing this artifact? Or securing the cathedral?
No magic is used in securing the cathedral, and as far as I can tell, the vestry does not contain any magic either. Beyond the doorway, however, I am uncertain.
Well, at least it's that gives us some guarantee for the start or how to enter?
If you're thinking of breaking into a cathedral, I'm not
No,
allowing this.
I'm not thinking of necessarily breaking in. I'm thinking of maybe being very persuasive somehow. And
By
perhaps
breaking in?
perhaps we can have them organize a showing of the artifact, although we would need to come up with some reason. And then even then, I'm not sure how we would take it off their hands.
I highly doubt it's the kind of artifact they'd wish to display.
Considering it's not one that's wholly to their order, they might be more willing to put it out on idle display, which, while disrespectful to the staff itself, isn't the most far-fetched idea, considering it's not wholly to them.
But given the relationship between the two parties, the fact I doubt they'd leave it out in the open.
How?
Veldt intercedes at this point and basically says, I do not even believe that anyone lower than perhaps the chaplain himself knows of the relic's storage there.
Yeah.
It is not a story that is likely to be bandied about. An allegiance between servants of Tritherion and Palor would be disruptive.
Well, I guess nobody would have any Pelorian artifacts on hand, so we could propose a trade.
No.
I wish.
Perhaps anybody knows of one? Although I guess we don't
suppose
really.
Somebody that's part of the order would be able to get, or to convince them to give up the staff.
I am unsure how you would convince a member of the Order to give up an item that they are essentially keeping to control the balance of power.
I wasn't necessarily thinking about somebody here.
What if we could convince them the staff is dangerous for them and they need to move it, and we would volunteer?
I feel like they will not buy that.
I feel like what you're suggesting is also illegal.
Would
If
it
I
be?
if I were to suggest your shield were about to explode and you were to give it to me, would you believe me?
Well, I would say we would need to come up with a better story, but like essentially come up with a reason why they wouldn't want to keep it there anymore. Like, if it puts the cathedral in danger, or the town, or whatever.
But we'd have no proof of that, is the only thing.
No, but if we could come up with a good story, we might be able to, well...
And what if they call our bluff?
Oh yeah, we'll just have to make it very convincing. Like, look, it's an option. It's not... nothing is a guarantee here. And because you could say it is technically dangerous, as some followers of Tritherion might decide to forcefully take it, although I doubt that would happen. It is theoretically a danger.
Cassian sort of like leans in to you and says, "You do realize you are suggesting that you are bleh, let me try that again. You do realize that you are suggesting giving a highly dangerous artifact to a stranger, and a stranger nonetheless with an affiliation to the very order that they are trying to protect this artifact from falling into the hands of."
Yeah.
Well, we would leave out that part.
I feel this is an idea that should be dropped. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I can't see them trusting us enough to let us do that.
I'm just trying to think of ways that don't involve just us breaking in and taking it.
Well, here's the thing. We know somebody who's part of the Order, or used to be.
Even if he agrees to help us, which he might not, what's to say that those here would trust him?
I don't know how much weight a membership in an order carries. That's not something I'm very familiar with, but it's
Well-
possible, and it would mean that we wouldn't have to break in at all. And
Well, given the fact, in fact, ignoring even his role within the order, his rather out there story may not convince them. Although I suppose they do have his letter.
You said that the vestry is usually guarded by who or what?
Presumably you're asking Cassian.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Cassian basically rattles off a description of two private security guards who both wear chainmail, carry order symbols, and basically are armed with maces and shields.
I still think we need to talk to them. They may not want to give the staff back to people who want to give Tallithsyr power, but that's not what we're doing. We need that staff because we want to save people.
I mean, I don't think they give a shit.
Whilst they probably do care, they may not believe us.
Both. Well, probably a combination of both.
As you continue this conversation, everybody... Actually, what is everybody's passive perception?
19, my dude.
Okay.
Shit all.
13.
Okay.
14.
11.
9, so.
Okay. So basically, V, you and both you and Cassian look up basically as a window opens and somebody basically like just dumps a bucket out of a window into the street below. At which point Cassian basically interrupts the conversation and says, Veldt, we must leave. Veldt sort of looks around at you and says, yes, I must... if people are beginning to move, we must also make our move. If you have any more questions, now is the time to ask them, or if anything comes up in the future, then you know where to locate Cassian.
And if you have any suggestions, feel free to add on to our current pool of nothing.
Veldt is sort of he gives you a blank look, and basically before turning to the old man, basically taking the old man's arm, and they walk off at quite a surprisingly quick pace for a man in a thick robe and a blind old man. And Cassian basically turns to you and says, "It would be best if we dispersed as well."
Very well.
Alright. Thank you for what you were able to tell us. Okay.
Cassian just sort of like sort of continues to just sort of stare at you and says, "It is only logical. You are searching for the staff. I have provided you with the information that I know."
Cassian.
She's very logical,
You did.
is the way to put it.
Yes.
Yeah, we should go.
Okay.
Okay. Cassian walks off in completely different direction to you guys and walks around a corner and basically vanishes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
This girl.
I'm sorry. You've just made the best character ever. I'm sorry. That's it.
So, as the sleepy morning in the square begins to be disturbed by the sound of people moving, what do you do?
I don't like any of this.
Me neither.
Well, sneaking around isn't something that most of us are great at, so
Except for me.
yeah.
He's pretty good at it as well, I think.
Swan dives into the bushes.
There's no bushes to swan dive into here, though.
Last time was also one time into gravel. That worked.
Yeah. V isn't necessarily so good at sneaking about. It's more she is quite good at blending into her environment, which she's not so good at doing in the middle of a city.
That's fair.
I feel we need to find somewhere to consider our options and plan our next move, whatever that may be.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
I don't like any of this.
Well, do you have any suggestions as to how we would acquire it?
Unfortunately not. And that's why I don't like it.
Well, one way or another, I won't make you all get involved if it does come to something that's potentially illegal. But one way or another, I'm getting the staff before we leave here. I can't be this close and let that slip.
I have said I would help you. As much as I am unsure of our latest allies, I have promised to help you. That's exactly what I plan to do.
Provided it doesn't break any laws, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we had errands that we wanted to do today. Should we do those for the moment?
Perhaps that is best.
Yeah. I guess it would be nice if we could pop by the blacksmith first. That's gonna take a long time. At least,
Silvering weapons is not exactly a quick process.
Yeah.
at least if you want it done properly.
Yeah, we also need to go by the store to sell some stuff.
Yep.
Actually,
Should we split up, or do you want...
we might have to go by the store first, unless
fine.
the blacksmith accepts ivory totems.
Wow.
Somehow you think that's unlikely.
Yeah, let's do
Well,
that
actually,
first then.
I do have 2 circlets with some gold. Could work out, but yeah.
We should find a shop.
Okay. Actually, no, we're just never mind. Selling stuff we can do now. I was thinking because we're probably gonna need some stuff later on, but we can just buy it whenever we need.
Okay, so you disperse, or are you sort of sticking together?
Yes, aren't
I
we
guess
all
stick
carried?
I think we're sticking
Yeah.
together.
Okay, yeah. In that case, you guys managed to sort of find basically the general store that you found yesterday that was closed up. And actually, on your way, you pass a place that basically advertises itself as a pawnbroker's. So you feel like anything that you wouldn't be able to sell at the general store, you could probably flog there. although perhaps not quite at its base gold value.
We just have to make sure to cover V's eyes before we go in.
What
It's
am
very, it's
I?
very rude in there.
Wow.
Mm,
No, Cav.
I'm a
Not
legal
myself.
adult.
Technically, I suppose.
Is there?
I like that
legally
Cav doesn't know the
appropriate-
difference between PAWN and PORN,
I was making a joke.
I know,
because they sound
but it
similar.
sucks.
I never said it was a
Yeah,
good joke.
awful.
Also,
Carry
you know
on.
Your own joke, you fucker.
Okay. Well, actually, so what loot do we have?
I have gems and stuff.
I have a dog collar, an embossed vellum.
Embossed vellum, yes.
Something like that.
The dog collars are not the thing that is that is value. It is the large pieces of onyx that are
Yeah.
set into the dog collar that are the thing that are worth money.
Yeah, I just decided to put it in chat. For one.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, and then a small thing, Vondal, I was thinking, can you use the scroll of protect from Celestial?
Anybody can use the scroll of protection from celestials because
anybody.
it is not a spell scroll. It is just a magic scroll.
Oh, that was why I was still carrying it around.
Yes. Yeah, basically, protection scrolls basically they make attacks by those beings less effective. Like, anybody can use them, and they are very powerful tools, but they are very rare.
Oh yeah, you had the amulet.
Yes. Bloodstone amulet, which is now magically infused with force, although you have no idea what that means.
Should I keep that?
I think the real question is, do we dare sell it?
You could try and find somebody who know what it does.
Don't feel like the pawn shop or general store are those places.
No, you would have to try and find some sort of specialist magic shop, which, as of yet, you have not discovered.
Okay. Well, I still have like some gems and a robe.
The robe's quite nice.
Yeah, it's the one the succubus was wearing.
Mm.
Wow.
Let's not tell them who was wearing it.
We're not gonna
It's a
tell
nice
anyone. We're
robe.
just
Give
came
me
from.
an intelligence check, V.
Okay. Just straight up intelligence?
Yeah. Okay.
This robe looked quite nice on you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Perhaps
That's, what
a
I'm,
magic
that's why I
book.
make an intelligence check. Fashion intelligence.
Fashion.
Intelligence.
Oh my god.
Or it's a mind controlling robe, and then we're screwed.
Oh god!
Oh fuck.
Like you have to roll a 15 in order to not get charmed.
No.
God, we found a lot of gems, didn't we?
Yep.
Make of that information what you will.
Well, we have.
I'm having Helena thoughts and I'm having V thoughts.
Mm.
Yeah, have fun. That's fun having two different thoughts based on you and your character, isn't it?
Would V make the connection?
No,
To whatever.
it's more like, would V even want to do that?
Well,
Okay. I'll keep it, just in case.
You hold on to
actually,
it.
the magic shop. Did we even look for one? Because we did look around town.
You wandered around town, but you didn't find a magic shop if there was one. It didn't have a big sign outside that said magic shop, but you did walk past a bunch of closed shops.
I mean, we can always ask in the other stores.
You could ask around.
Because I feel like gems and stuff usually sell better at arcane, related places.
I mean, gemstones are the easiest thing to sell by a long shot.
Yeah, because they're
Yeah.
valuable anywhere.
That's true. We could go
Because you
to
think
the art
a general
museum.
store can buy them from us and then sell them to someone else.
We could go to the Ivory Museum. Not Ivory Museum, but the museum for or the art display.
The
Ivory
art
Toad.
exhibition.
Isn't it for like fancy people?
It's also an exhibition, not really sort of a shop.
Look,
Yeah.
usually you'll find people that like.
If you were looking for a collector, that's more than likely where you would find one.
Also, that'd be a classy place.
Yeah, it would be an evening do place where you'd go for drinks and nibbles, and you'd sort of spend an evening looking at art with a bunch of other fancy hobnobs.
Sorry, drinks and nibbles. What is this?
Yeah, drinks and nibbles. When you just have like snacky foods, it's nibbles.
Hmm.
I have okay.
I think that's great though. I think
It
it
must
makes
be,
guys,
it must,
all
it must be a
hors
British thing.
d'oeuvres.
Can we just like sell our shit?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Arya isn't high enough class to know what hors d'oeuvres is.
Wow, bitch! I'll
Wow.
teach you high class.
You live in a fucking forest!
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Live in a forest on your own.
Kelariis can't even spell hors d'oeuvres.
It's fine.
In fact, the only person who can probably spell it is V, but she has no idea what it means.
Moving on, let's sell our shit.
Let's sell our shit.
Cool.
Okay.
I have to make another charisma roll for that or something.
I mean, it depends on what you're trying to get out of it.
Money.
Well, thank you, smartass.
How much money?
If you
How much money?
if you are trying to flog them for basically what is their base gold value, if they are gems, most people will accept gems at face value. Things like ivory totems, circlets, etc. are less likely to be accepted at full face value, so you would need to make charisma checks to try and sell them for face value or over. If you want to try and get more out of your gemstones, you could try charisma checks. If you want to sell them at whatever the merchants are willing to give you, then you don't need to make anything. They will just give you a percentage based on which merchant you sell it to.
Yeah, I'm quite happy just giving them the amethyst for 300 gold.
Okay.
Look, I can't not try and get more out of it.
Here we go.
I'm
Awful
trying to make some
charisma rolls from
charisma checks.
Grim.
So Grim, what are you trying to sell, and who are you trying to sell it to?
I'm gonna start off with the circlets.
Okay.
I'm gonna sell them as a beautiful pair.
Okay.
So
Is this before or after you've polished the rust off them?
Look, I'll do like the little things. It's like just outside the store before I go in, like just.
Grim rubs the circlet with his sleeve before entering.
Yeah, that's how you clean off rust. Totally.
Look, I don't have the proper polish and whatever on me, so. And buying the proper equipment is probably more expensive than what we would gain.
Cool. So, presume you going to the pawnbroker or the general store?
To be honest, I don't feel like this is a general store product.
Okay. Okay, give me some charisma checks. Well, a charisma check, singular to start with.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Okay.
The fuck?
Yeah, how did that happen?
Magic.
Grim strides in to the pawnbroker. Sort of begins sort of a jovial conversation with the man behind the desk, who, quite frankly, looks bored out of his mind.
Lovely.
Grim tells this fantastic story of this time that you ventured into this dungeon and you fought all these monsters and you came across this grand elven-styled hall and found these 2 beautiful circlets. And at this point he brings out the circlets. The man is sort of like enraptured with them, and he's sort of like, yeah, I'd like to keep them, but it's money these days, blah blah blah. Grim just like he gets a pretty smooth repertoire going with this guy, and this guy's sort of like, oh yeah, I'd like to buy them, but I don't know how much I can sell them for. And he's like, well, goes like, well, I could probably offer you a deal, maybe 40. The man's like, I could probably do you 35, and Grim's like, yeah, I suppose I could drop to 35. And yeah, you managed to sell them for 35 gold a piece.
Wow. Oh, a piece. That's actually way better than I thought.
Well, they were 25 gold each.
Yeah, but that's why I did not expect to get like more than 25 for each.
No.
Don't complain, just take it.
No. Like you like fucking sweet talk this guy with this story of adventure.
And look, now I'm gonna desperately fail at like
Everything else for the rest of the session.
No, I have this highly valuable ivory totem. I'm just not gonna know what to do with it. I don't.
Grim.
Wow.
Oh, Grim.
Well,
look,
you sort of say, just like, oh well, if you're interested in that, pulls out this ivory totem. Just like, yeah, got this off a Minotaur. It's pretty good craftsmanship. It's real Minotaur ivory, and he's just sort of like, it's kind of a niche piece, to be honest. And it's a nudity thing, and like, I don't know. I don't really know anyone who'd buy that, to be honest with you. I could give you maybe for ivory, like maybe 130.
I don't blame the guy. It's absolute crap.
I thought he was a pawnbroker.
He is.
Yeah.
You can't sell specialist pieces to just the general public.
No, but to be honest, I don't feel like I'm gonna get find anywhere where I'm gonna get rid of it for a good price.
No.
I'll do it.
Prepared to haggle for 130?
Well, I assume that's the price I'll end up with.
Well, you could try and talk him up or down a little.
This bloke won't haggle.
Well, this is I guess. Well, it is true Minotaurian craftsmanship.
All Minotaur craftsmanship is of the highest quality.
It's like this will last you the rest of your life. It's gonna be great. You know you want it in your bedroom.
The rest of my life.
Well,
If I put that in the bedroom, the wife would kill me here and now.
Your wife would love it. She'd sleep with it. It's so amazing.
Hey,
Why are you like this?
that is not how you get people to buy.
Give me a charisma check with disadvantage.
Here.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
better than what I did.
Wow, it is actually better than what you
It's okay.
He's like 135 is my lowest, I'm afraid. It's my highest, rather, I meant to say.
Oh well. That's fine. I'll take it. I did not expect this to work, to be honest.
Okay. You successfully sell some of your loot.
Nice.
There we go. Congratulations, you sold your naked loot.
If anyone else wants to sell gems here, you can exchange gems for equal value here.
Awesome.
And you could probably try and sell your embossed vellum here as well.
Okay, I would like to do that.
Cool. Give me just a quick charisma check.
My charisma is decidedly awful. So. And okay.
Yep, you actually rolled higher than Grim.
Yeah, no, he's sort of like, oh yeah, it's good quality stuff, this, yeah, it's unmarked, it's quite old. Yeah, I can probably give you like, I don't know, maybe 7 silver piece.
Cool. Sounds good.
Cool. He buys your 8 embossed vellum for 7 silver each.
Guys, I'm rolling in the dough again. Just letting you know.
Yeah, you guys ready for some basic math? 7 times 8.
I already got my calculator, bro.
Good.
56.
This isn't a calculator paper.
It's 56,
Wow.
which is 5 gold, 6 silver.
Also, just wanted to let you guys know that I now have like 500 gold.
Jeez.
That's actually 5 times the amount of gold I have.
You can actually nearly buy a boat.
Look, I'm just imagining
I'm
Arya has,
going to buy
Arya
a
has a
boat.
second backpack now, just one filled with gold.
Yeah, this
Also,
is
Some
my
people have
plan.
like a
boat.
gold
Have you even
pouch.
seen
Arya
the
has a
ocean?
backpack.
I mean, you can get gold coins in larger denominations.
Just fucking become the money bags.
It's not like you don't go around carrying £100 coins to carry £100.
That would be incredible.
That would be kind of painful.
You're gonna
Okay,
get several
I
bags
need
for
a quick-
Lyra.
Question. Saddlebags for Lyra. How many silver is worth 1 gold? Is it
10.
5?
10.
10. Okay. Good to know.
It's 10 for each.
It's
step.
okay. We're
Yep.
not using like ye British currency here. It's just 10,
Yeah.
10, 10.
Except for Electrum. Or
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're not using that shit. 'cause it's
Yeah.
There used to be half copper coins, and they started phasing those out recently.
Mm,
It's just nobody uses them anymore.
It's like the penny,
Mm.
the most useless of change.
I have so many pennies.
Same.
I have a nice little pile of pennies on my desk.
They're extraordinarily useless.
Anyone else got something to sell? Or are we done?
I think I'm good.
Nope. The only thing I've got that's worth selling, I'm not going to sell.
Cool. Yeah, and with that, as you guys move on to the blacksmith, we will take a brief break.
Good.
We'll see you momentarily.